there's all these different paths we're taking, and yes, it is very exciting to see how each path goes. Because, like, even like with SKOL, we may be cross-chain, but we also have our CEX as liquidity pools, and I don't think there's a single project on PulseChain that is even on the same CEXs that we're on, let alone with the liquidity system like we're doing with that. So it's interesting because those CEXs trade back and forth to the chains just like another chain. Like there's plenty of arbitrage. Like we just had non-KYC literally bought our chart 3 times yesterday. I don't know how many people noticed that. They were the little small $20, $30 buys that were going on yesterday, which is incredible. To see.
So an exchange was buying your token?
Yes. They actually have their wallet with the ENS, so there's no denying it. You can literally see it says, KYC, non-KYC hot wallet.
That's pretty sweet, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's a real thing. You always hear people talk about, oh, exchanges buying supply. They do. They absolutely do. And they'll sell on your chart too. It goes both ways. But they do market make. And it's I really like non-KYC a lot because it's literally the cheapest exchange you can get with market makers. There's not a lot of options out there that have that without spending 15, 20 grand or more. Like cases like MEXC, which goes for about $70,000 a listing. It's absolute insanity. But you get what you pay for. The problem with MEXC is most projects go on there too early. You always hear people say, oh, MEXC kills projects. No, it kills projects when they're not ready because MEXC gives futures. And you don't have a lot of liquidity and you don't have strong holders, futures are going to murder you. So I see it in the chats all the time. MEXC killed this project. I'm like, no, it just wasn't ready for it yet. You can't go from 0 to a T1 exchange. So
you did mention recently, so we have eyes from someone from tier 1. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, we do. I can't talk too much about it, obviously, but I have a connection with a very well-known exchange. One that, if I even give a hint, you all know who it is. But I do have a connection with them, and I do talk with them, and we're still a long ways away. We have a lot of growth to do, but when the time is right, that door is open for us to go on that exchange.
That's amazing. But, yeah, your networking has been.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a talker in general either, but what's got to be done has got to be done. That's how we're going to move forward. There's our opportunities and eyes on us are growing every single day. All this effort we're doing, all these tweets, all these things we're doing, it is making a difference. People are noticing. And then, of course, the liquidity system is growing every single day, every trade. We always have whales adding to it. It's just getting more and more exciting as time goes by and becoming more and more clear what it's actually going to do.
Yeah, I got a question. I've been playing around Load. I was wondering if adding liquidity on each chain is the best, or just one, or just buying and holding, or
it depends on your goals and mindset. Like adding liquidity absolutely helps the project. It's more of a long-term mindset though, because liquidity is a long game. You don't want to go into liquidity with a short-term mindset because you can end up really wrecking your bag through impermanent loss. Over time, that impermanent loss goes away, given enough volume and time. In most cases with the right project. I do think Load is one of those projects where you don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah, correct. Unless it's with Sol or ETH, that's when it fits in.
Yeah, the wrong project can definitely hurt a bag, but I don't see Load as one of those.
All right. What's the deal with the staking with SKOL?
It is staking for SKOL, and there's our APYs and our penalties for withdrawing early. It's one of those things with the right long-term mindset, it can be very, very profitable due to what I feel SKOL is going to be worth per token over time. I do plan on getting some yield farm options in the near future. I'm still shopping around with the right person to host it, but I do want to provide just a little extra incentive for liquidity down the road.
Do you mind sharing the link of the first pair that was created?
The very first pair ever in what, SKOL?
In SKOL, yes.
Well, that would technically be the SKOL ETH pool. We launched about a year ago with 2 ETH in liquidity. Now we're up to about, what's today's latest numbers? Now we're up to almost $160,000 in liquidity across 3 chains and 2 CEXs.
That's awesome. Congrats.
All my supply I bought's only being used for the project. I've made it clear I don't plan on selling any tokens, and I mean that. There's plenty of ways SKOL will pay me without having to sell a token.
Awesome. And is SKOL supposed to be a meme, or does it have any utility, or what's your goal with the?
We're a play to earn ecosystem. Honestly, the best start to get to know the project is to read our Git book. generally I have people read it, and then I can answer any questions after. There's quite a bit to this project, to say the least.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, can you? This is the first time I actually look into it, so I would love to look more, like read about it.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Welcome in.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Where do you play it? Is it
Oh, it's on our website.
And do you pay fees on any chain or connect a wallet?
At the moment, Ragnarok is the only one that's currently play to earn, and that is on ETH. We are adding other chains. Right now, our focus is on Ride, which is our OTC platform. We're currently building that, and then we'll go back to our games.
That's awesome. All right, I'll join.
My son wants to know when he'll be able to play that on his Nintendo Switch.
You might be able to through the browser. I haven't personally tried. I'm pretty sure the Switch has a browser now.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I'm not really familiar with the Switch, not like he is.
Yeah. Now I got to find the Switch to try it because now I'm curious. I was able to do it on a PS3.
Okay.
Through a browser, which was quite interesting.
What chain do you suppose you'll be prioritizing next?
I wanted to do Polygon, but I'm not going to lie. I'm getting so much demand for base chain. I have so many different projects reaching out to me and asking me to make pools of them. It's I think base chain might be closer than I originally thought.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's on Polygon.
Well, it's not that. I just like the idea of being paired to another asset because, of course, base is ETH. So we're already kind of paired to ETH. But I have to go where the support is, and there's a lot of not small projects wanting to pair with SKOLs and reaching out and communicating with me.
So you're trying to build liquidity on several chains. Is there anything from the fees that goes to the old pairs, like kind of like what pdai does, that it kind of burns the liquidity and it grows it?
Well, that's how liquidity works. All those fees compound unless you choose to withdraw your liquidity. So over every single trade grows those liquidity pools.
And it grows since nobody can access them? Or?
Well, yes, if the liquidity is burned, correct.
Okay.
Either way.
And are your LPs burned?
A majority of them are, not all of them are. Okay. Our biggest liquidity pool, which is our main ETH pool, is completely burned. A majority of our liquidity on Solana is burned as well. Nice. Once some of our pools grow a little bit bigger on PulseChain, I'll probably burn a big chunk of them. I would say, if I had to do a number off the top of my head, I would say about 60% of our liquidity is burned at the moment. Yeah,
because you need to manage it.
Yeah.
Richard, when are you going to get the tattoo?
Well, it's always been agreed on when SKOL breaks 1 million. I think we'll be there pretty soon, honestly.
You've had quite a bit of opportunity to network directly with Nemo a bit, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've been a part of that circle for so long now because I was an early Suka holder. You know, that's how I met Solid and so many others as well. Now, Suka's been around now for what? It's going on for almost 3 years now. That project has been through everything a project can go through. I mean, hacks, exploits, bad community members, bad whales, FUD, you name it, that project went through it and it survived. And we've been through a lot in our 1 year as well. And we showed our strength through all the things that we've been through.
I really feel like the SKOL project was impacted far less than other projects that may have had something similar. So it was really good to see.
Absolutely. If you compare the hack that happened to Suka when Trust Finance was hacked and they literally had their entire V pool of liquidity drained.
Yeah.
Our LP system, we took that big sell, but our LP system, tanked it. It really didn't dent the chart as much as it would have for any other project. I was talking to some devs and they're like, that sell would have literally killed our chart. It showed us how strong we truly are.
Yeah, and I was being serious when I said that. I saw that and I was like, what the heck happened? And then I was like, well, maybe they, I guess I was being optimistic. I'm like, maybe it went to a sex. And then I was like, well, no, that didn't happen. I was like, oh, okay, something bad happened. And then I was looking at it and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm tired. I'm just going to go to bed because nothing bad's going to happen. So I honestly wasn't, with Suka, I lost sleep. But with this, I didn't.
Yeah, and there's this general community reaction. Like when it happened to us, everyone was just like, we'll be fine. Honestly, it was so relaxed. When it happened to Suka, it was pure chaos.
Yeah.
People were panicking. People were freaking out. People were selling into almost no liquidity. It was absolute madness. Nemo makes sense because, from what I understand, Nemo was always planned. Suka was supposed to go to higher numbers first. But unfortunately, all the things that Suka went through prevented that.
I think that and
In
the
the
outside
end,
influences too, with FTX and all the other.
absolutely. But in the end, when Nemo does what it's supposed to do, it's only going to help Suka. Many don't understand that.
Sounds like we should be beefing up the Suka pool a bit.
We don't have one with Suka yet. I want to make one. We just haven't gotten there yet. But the Nemo pool, we're sitting at about $34,000 right now in liquidity. I do want to get some more added as well. Like I'm not done adding to that pool, because I do personally believe that Nemo is going to go to unimaginable numbers. We're very much overdue for a Suka pool. We do have one on Pulse, technically. We're gonna rise with these assets, and they're gonna rise with us. Like it's such a healthy thing for both sides.
It's hard to go wrong right now. Like my last pool that I made was Fatty, and it's just like a YouTuber that's really hated in the gaming YouTuber world or whatever. He has a token, and it was sitting at the floor, and I'm like, why not? I'm just going to put a little bit down to both sides and start a pool.
Oh, like even the bottomed out projects, like the Bud Ape one, like the thing is they're going to go up when Soul goes up. So you really can't go wrong because Soul is probably going to go to 1K this cycle. I truly feel it will.
I know. I was really thinking about adding to Bud Ape. It's at such a low floor now. I think lower than when I created the pool.
Oh, it is. It went down pretty significantly because people don't understand the vibes of the project yet.
Right. Yeah.
I still think it'll have a run. It's just not that kind of project. So people they get confused why everything is so calm and peaceful, and that's kind of the whole meta of what they're doing.
Does SKOL have okay, so you know how like V1 on PulseChain has a buy and the fees are buy and burned. Are there other does SKOL have pools across other chains that go to buy and burn?
Not yet. Me and Rig are cooking up something. We're working on something that's gonna do that say the least it's gonna burn and buy and burn some SKOL. So I don't want to go too much more into detail than that. And that being said, outside of that, our games burn, our metaverse burns, and of course I manually burn as well. Right now I'm trying to recover the reserves that we unfortunately lost in the hack. So I haven't been doing a lot of burning lately, but that will resume in the near future.
Richard, I wondered if you have a goal in mind for where you're going to try to hopefully get the reserves back to.
Right now it's going pretty steady. I'm just kind of buying. I mean, I was going to be buying anyways. I'm just, of course, I paused the burning for the time being because the buybacks never stop. They're permanently a part of our tokenomics. So, but I would like to get it back. I would like to get the whole 3% back, to be honest. And I think we can do it.
That's good to know.
I think that answered my question because my question was like, where did the reserves go? But they get dumped on the market, so the only way to get them back is to manually buy them back.
Yes, that is correct, which I will be doing one way or another. So at whatever price they may be at.
What role did the reserves play?
They were for our CEX listings because we got quite a bit more than planned as time goes by, and they were for our P2E pool, in our staking pool to refill as needed, things like that. But that's why we have a buyback tax. We'll be able to always continually fill that. And plus, we're going to get supply through our utilities, through Ride, through Orista, through Runestone. There won't be an issue for the project to have the supply it needs for these things. Everything is very sustainable.
Speaking of which, you seem to have dropped in chat something about possibly rev share being planned for Orista too.
Yes, it is. Yeah, there will be advertisements on Orista that projects are going to be able to pay for. And top 50 holders of SKOL will get 50% of that revenue. That hasn't really been officially announced, but there it is. So that is planned.
I mean, you dropped it in chat. Not saying
I know,
anything.
I didn't go into detail, but yes, that is correct.
Well, now's the time to do it.
As of now, that's publicly known. There's 3 different ways that top 50 holders will earn revenue. I do intend on growing that list, but can't give it all away all at once.
That's awesome. Contracts, I think you mentioned contracts won't count towards it, but some of the pools aren't on a contract, right? Like, would they end up earning revenue? I'm not actually clear on that.
Any LP pools, any contracts, things like that will not be eligible for revenue.
I know that like my holding within a pool wouldn't. I just wondered, I guess, if the pool itself would somehow.
There's Unfortunately, there's really no way for us to count liquidity pools, although they would not count.
And well, you obviously you'll know who has theirs in staking.
Yes.
Yeah.
If everything goes to plan, shortly before RIDE goes officially live, we'll have a tool that will allow you to check if you're in the top 50.
Yeah.
So there'll be ways to check that, because right now it could be a bit confusing because there's a lot of contract wallets, there's LP pools, and of course our tokens are spread out to all these different places.
Yeah.
So this tool will give you the ability to just paste your address and it'll tell you whether you're eligible or not for revenue.